in the Jubilee Room.
Which I guess is at the town hall where we went to.
Don't forget, Clink is closed.
Sorry?
Don't forget, the Clink is closed.
What is it?
It didn't mean the prison.
Clink leads to the
Is the car
house.
park still open where we normally park?
Is the car park bit still open?
For now, well, it's still open, but you have to go around the town rather than through the town.
Why is it all closed? You just
Wessex Water are doing sewer work to the end of November.
They're everywhere.
Bridgewater's gridlocked
I'll
every
come
day.
back to you, Erin, I'll send you
Okay.
the
There is also something else on 22nd of September here, which is we should have a diary note, Thursday 22nd of September, parish meeting here at Bridgewater House, Sedgemoor Room. That's on the same day, of course, as the closed, yeah.
I believe that to be more important.
Sorry, what is that one?
It just says parish meeting. I'm not sure, because it says here you have a diary note. Actually, I don't remember anything previously,
No.
but I do have this evening.
Yes. Perhaps we have to put it in the diary.
Just mentioned that one was when we had the consultation about how they were going to potentially reorganise the clusters.
Right.
That's the meeting relating to the reorganising of the cluster meetings. So that's when it was highlighted there could be a meeting on the 22nd of September. But just with the confirmation it is.
Right.
So that would be an evening meeting, not an afternoon or a
Right. Okay.
daytime.
Cluster group.
We've got the other meeting, so we don't know what we're doing on that, but that has priority, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Well, obviously, I'll send it. I'll email these dates out, and
Yeah.
we just put a name against them.
Yeah, okay.
That's it on that. I think the correspondence.
Thank you. Is there any, so can we proceed on to finance and approve payments?
Yeah, basically on payments, we've got the statutory payments, September the 7th. These are statutory payments that were agreed in April of this year, £1,408. These are three payments to HMRC, Clark Salary and GB Sports. So £1,408 there. That's a statutory payment. Then the payments list. We've got GB Sports installation of new seesaw, 2754. Obviously VAT reclaimable on that, £400 I think it is. And then we've got GB Sports annual inspection. This is an interesting one because of course they did the inspection, the guy came to do the inspection and then went ill. And so it was some considerable time before we had the report, but we did have the invoice. So I went back to them and said, well look, thank you for the invoice, which will be paid in September. Can we see a report please? I've just received the report, so what I'm intending to do is going to email it to you. So you can, but otherwise I'll put it in the file circulation. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, it's only just come. So now we've had it, I feel we can obviously legitimately pay the fee.
Well, can't we read it before we pay it?
Well, not really, because we're paying for the report to be done, not whether we agree with the report or whether we think it's a good report or a bad report. We're simply paying for the fact that it's been done.
Now, whether the format?
Yeah, the format seems good, because they do pictures and stuff like it. It's fairly comprehensive.
The guy that did it actually was very professional. Unfortunately, he was the one that met it. Because I did actually meet him on the day he did it. Because I was concerned about competences of the people doing these inspections. And this guy is an independent person. He never was a direct employee of GB Sports, and he is an accredited inspector of theirs. So as far as I was concerned, he of anyone would have done a proper job.
Good. Yeah, and looking at it very quickly, glancing through it, looks pretty good. It's a pretty good report.
Peter, yes.
Ships on the way video, I've got checks being paid.
No, in fact, when we get to your payments, we need you to.
You could just quickly.
I'll go through the list.
But I've not been paid.
But you're not being paid, so John will need to.
Anyway.
Jason Mayo sends a further bill for the. When he agreed to change the contract, he did ask whether he could get the perimeter hedges in order first before he did them on a regular maintenance. So this is the invoice for that work. But I was interested, somebody noted earlier, somebody said that I think it was you actually, Bella, said about the perimeter hedging in not particularly good order.
No, the brambles are terrible.
So we just need to make sure that obviously Jason is maintaining it to the level which we are paying.
Yes, that's what I wanted to make sure.
To be able to cut there, haven't you?
Yeah.
It was very
Not
good.
the brambles though, that are sticking out.
Well, it's all part of the head.
But it was very good just before
That's it,
the
yeah. So,
village fair.
Right.
And it'd be nice if that was the standard, it could be maintained at.
So I will, when I send Jason a check, I'll just say, can you please now maintain those perimeters as per our agreed contract. Glaston suppliers, probably know the notice board out here is fragile, to say the least. Sometimes it doesn't open, sometimes it doesn't close. I've got a fixing kit from Glaston who say that should solve our problems, and Warwick has kindly agreed to have a look and see if he can fathom it out, because it's a bit of a complicated process of taking the back off, and he's going to have a look at it and see what he can do. So I've got a fixing kit ready for him to use that. Brent Tree Services was the tree removals behind the mugger, £500, which we knew about. And then there's Arian signs, which obviously was the signs for the gates. So do we want to agree on those payments first of all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you happy with all of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to pop out quickly?
Peter?
I'll shut.
By the time the door's shut, you can come back in.
Okay.
Surplus with the key on.
Basically under pecuniary interest. We are paying a council, so therefore agree and declare an interest. So yeah, Peter obviously provided some bolts for the cycle rack installation, and they cost us a printed sum of £7.80. And it's a question whether you would like to make that payment today. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks, Peter.
He was listening, you heard, wasn't he?
The total reclaim on VAT on all of that is, on all of those payments, is £471.60. We're putting a VAT claim in very soon on this year so far.
Right.
And that is payments. Oh, you've got a budget in front of you, an updated budget, and also you've got a copy of the bank statement as of August, so that you can see that the money actually is in there, and it's not a fragment of my imagination. It is in there. Okay. You've got a copy of the statement, just for your records. It's on the, I left it on the top there. And it shows us funds, I think, of 34,000, something like that. Including the Hudson Energy inward grant of 5,000. So that's really just for compliance purposes more than anything else. And then we're on to matters.
Well, you mentioned pensions regulated compliance matter.
Yeah, pensions
You
regulated.
wrote to yourself and
I
told
wrote to
you-
myself, I had to write to myself and tell myself that I could be offered a pension on behalf of the council. I've now got to write to myself again. I've got to write to myself to say that I don't wish to take that up. And then on the 1st of October, I then have to ring the pensions regulator and make a declaration that we've gone through the process, and that should our circumstances change and we have a new clerk who wishes to take up a pension, that we will open the whole process again, and he will be offered a pension, and we'll go through the letter writing process once again. Okay, so there's a nice bit of bureaucracy there for you.
But we are complying.
We are complying, and that's the most important thing.
Brent Knoll Charities Fund future.
That shouldn't be on there, actually. It was left over from last week. We decided the trustees will at some stage get together and decide what to do about
Yes.
the fund.
Okay, moving on to item 9, matters for consideration. Unfortunately, there are probably 2 or 3 fairly lengthy discussions that we have to go through, I'm afraid. The first being Crooked Lane proposals and resolution to determine.
That's all. That's all. We're going to go through the question, aren't we? This is what Colin has
I
been
think
doing.
we have a situation where Councillor Townsend appears to have gone and identified a sum of money for improving Crooked Lane.
Section 2 looking at it.
And I have to be careful how I choose my words now. I'm not conscious we were aware of this at the time.
No,
Despite them saying to us that it was raised at the June.
I do remember something about it, but I can't tell you what.
There was-
It didn't sound as if.
There was no actual minute note,
No.
but
Right.
On his plan that he sent round, did you see it?
Yes.
Went straight down past the bass ground, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I thought originally, when we talked about it a few years ago, we were going to try and follow that windy lane that came up towards Tesco, called Shakespeare Corners. You know what I mean? Middle Earth.
Yeah, no, it's only on Brent Knoll's.
Going straight down there and she's coming out of Brambles Road. It's quite a way out of town.
Before we go too far, because clearly because Colin initially sent it to me and Owen, the proposal, then asked for it to be sent round, I wrote back to Colin asking a number of pertinent questions, recognising that he won't be attending the meeting tonight. And if I go through those and his responses, it may help to assuage any concerns that he may have. So I split them into various headings. The first one was grant. The question was, will any monies be issued prior to the work commencing, bearing in mind that he has spoken to...
Matthew Wall.
Sorry?
Matthew Wall.
Yeah. No, this is RB, Royal Bath and West.
This is us.
He has submitted this and the sum of money.
RBWES.
Yeah, they will be submitting on the basis of that a grant to us.
Yeah.
So the grant will be paid on the presentation of an invoice for the completed works, just like the Church Lane project. My question, if issued only on completion, will they need to inspect the finished work? Well, they will not need to inspect the works to confirm completion, so they'll be relying on Are there any conditions associated with the grant? Colin responds, not that I know of, but I will check with RBWES. I haven't heard any further on that. However, the grant money and work must be spent and completed by the end of October 2016. So this is why a decision tonight is essential. Contract for the work. Will this be with Axe Brew or Pope's Direct? Because in the paperwork that was sent, that they had I think Axe Brew had contacted 3 different contractors and got prices for the work against their specification, and Pope's have produced the cheapest option. And Colin's response is the contract will be with BKPC, us, and JD Pope Direct. So the contract will be between the council and this contractor. What payment terms will be expected? This is my question. Payment on satisfactory completion of work. So that's one thing which is in favour. In other words, we haven't got to put money up front or anything like that. How will the work done be monitored to ensure specification compliance? Colin spoke to Matthew Wall, who has come back subsequently to say that they will be checking on that themselves, so that is out with our responsibility. Who is responsible for the process? And Colin didn't understand that meant, but what I was saying, is it the parish council that will be checking compliance with the specification or Axe Brew? What happens if the contractor claims unforeseen circumstance? Being a contractor many years ago, you dig holes in the ground, even though everybody tells you there's nothing there, you'll find something that's not according to what should be there. Colin reckons there should be no unforeseen circumstances as the work is all surface work, there are no hidden items, and there is a detailed specification that has been provided. It's a fixed price sum, and our order would specify this as per their quotation. Other parties, what guarantees will be in place to ensure expected payments are made? Because apparently the grant that we receive is not for the full amount. We would have to contribute a sum of money, and other stakeholders, i.e. the landowners. And again, payments will only be made in full completion of the work. But I think we ought to have something in writing.
Do the landowners agree to this?
Apparently.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes, he met Chloe Kidner, and he met
3 people in the meeting,
Mr.
wasn't
Bill wasn't there, and Mr. Frost, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
And
How much would we be?
I've come to that at the end, yeah, that's all right. What benefits to Brent Knoll resident for this work? You know, if we're going to fund anything, you know, what's the benefit? And Colin's response is better access for cyclists, walkers, disabled, horse riders, the general public, a pleasant access route to Burnham-on-Sea through open countryside, which I think is a valid support. I said, I think this is not representing a criticism of what Colin's done. I'm simply trying to ensure that there is no liability to us as a parish council now or in the future.
I wanted to ask that.
And Colin said this is probably the key question, and again he has gone to Matthew Wall and he has come back to say ultimate responsibility ongoing will be the landowner. Yeah, we need that in mind.
We've got an email, but it's not, I don't think an email is sufficient. What we need is a letter from Matthew Wall, the Drainage Board, to that end. I don't think just an email is sufficient, personally.
I don't think we have it tied up. It's the law of unexpected consequences, and we need to get it tied.
Somewhere in here.
Wasn't there a figure of £900 divided into, there's talk about inviting Burnham-on-Sea, but they decided not to because it would take so long to get an answer.
That's the specification.
971
to December 2,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Which was the
So it would be
public.
971 split 3 ways or 4 ways.
That's right. So evidently the various options were submitted to 3 contractors. And I have to say that the sums of money that they were seeking varied considerably. From the highest was 65,000, approaching 66,000, to option 2 of JD Pope, which is the preferred now option, which is £19,437. A significant difference. RBWES are interested in the proposed project and would be prepared to donate 80% of the funding required. This would be based upon option 2, the remaining balance of £3,886.30p to be financed by the interested parties to the application, and it's proposed that each party takes an equal share on this balance. So each of the landowners have been contacted by Matthew Wall, and they have agreed to contribute the respective share, which leaves us and possibly Burnham Town Council, who apparently have an interest in the other end at broadband rent. And so if we don't involve Burnham, BKPC will be 971.57. So what we're looking to get is 2 proposals, I suspect. One is, are we happy as a council for this to go ahead? And secondly, are we prepared to pay £971.57p as part of that?
And possibly a lower figure if you got the approval from Burnham. Yes.
Can I ask about the fund? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Chris, the cycle ride, isn't that to go towards it?
That went on the gate.
That
Did it go on the gate?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, yeah, I'd be happy to support this. I think it's a project that the parish council has been involved with for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Chris Evans' fund. I mean, when Chris was on the parish council and Rob Rohrer were on the council, we were looking at whether we could do something to improve the access down there, which was dreadful. I think in terms of this, obviously Colin went off and did some work. Then I do have a recollection of coming back in June and mentioning the fact he was talking to them.
Yes.
We didn't have the detail at that stage, but we did say to him, well, carry on talking to them and then come back with the detail. Well, that's what he's done now, we've got the detail. So I don't think he's gone off and done anything he shouldn't have done. When we looked at this 6 or 7 years ago, we got county council involved and asked them to do a look at it themselves. They came back with a all whistles, all bells, and you name it solution, which was 6 figures at that stage. So to get the sort of figures we're talking about here, I think is remarkable. That he's got the drainage board on board, we've got the landowners. I would have thought we need to be biting the hand off and get on with it, because it's something that, as I say, we've tried to do for an awful long time. And if it's £1,000 basically we've got to put in, I've still got 5,000 left of the solar people's money for community projects. Why not use 1,000 of that?
I think that Chris Evans' widow has, over the years, donated to the council nearly that amount anyway, but she would wish to.
She'd be happy that it would have
Sure she
done.
would.
Malcolm?
Yeah.
It does say in the letter further on that Darren approached the Burnham Town Council for a contribution, which would
Yeah, but I
Which
spoke
is-
to Colin and he said that by the time it would be too late, but by the time you had an answer, the date for the actual grant would have been exceeded.
We've got to get this, I mean, if we don't agree it today, it's going to almost, we're going to lose it, that's it.
Yeah.
And also just to come back on that point, we did approach Burnham Town Council on a previous occasion on this very project to ask them for their help, and we got a less than positive response. So I think, to be frank, we delay it 2 months asking them and getting a reply, and we're likely not to get a very positive response either.
So can I have a proposal, is somebody prepared to propose that we go ahead with this and spend the money? And a second, Bob, and all those in favour, please. So unanimous. Thank you, that's done, and dusted, good.
I'll do that.
Is somebody going to tell Colin?
Yeah, I'll email him. He asked me to be emailed on my response, so then you can press the right buttons.
So nugget installation progress is next item, and I think we've all seen it, and irrespective of issues that perhaps have gone, we can now forget about. I have to say, looking at it in the sunlight this afternoon, I thought it was very impressive. The key issue is we did think about having some form of opening ceremony or formal opening. I did suggest this Saturday. Thoughts, are we happy with that?
Yes, fine.
We tried to think in terms of getting Hadstone Energy representative there.
They can't come actually, so I have found that out from
Which is a shame, because they obviously are the main
It's their money, isn't
contributor.
it?
But I've got something to please you all. I'm not coming.
I can read a football.
I was thinking maybe the council would give the little boy a football to sit and let him take it home.
Can he come, the little boy?
Well,
I've asked them if they can.
You can.
okay, and the young and the girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
There's no boy.
Bethany, is it? Bethany?
Who was the boy?
Edward, can't think of his name offhand. His father wrote to me actually on his email address, and I assumed it was Jonathan who was writing to me, it wasn't, it was Edward. So, but yes, I mean, they'll certainly come along if we invite them.
What time?
I suggested 2:30.
Yeah.
Right.
I've sent some communication to Western Mercury and also Burnham.com to see whether they could send somebody along, take pictures and do a write-up.
In the absence that we don't have anybody from Hadstone to formally, if you like, because it would be nice for them to say a few words and open the thing. Any suggestions on procedure, please?
They're a long way away, Hadstone. That's the first problem. They're up in.
No. I was thinking of on the day that we do it. You know. Do you want Muggins to do something? Or
Yeah.
you happy with that?
You should do it, really, shouldn't you, Chairman?
What are you going to do there?
Chairman
I'm
to
going to use John as a football. He did volunteer, didn't he, John?
Absolutely.
No, but what are you going to do? Are you
Oh,
going to...
just say it now.
You're not going to...
You
have
could
to
mention
do it?
the...
No, we'll just say
But I
thank
do
you.
think you should.
You
Let
should
the
mention
boy
the,
get it in.
the terribly hard work of all the
No.
subcommittee.
When I see that, with my eyes, I see 5, and it's bad enough having to choose 2, let alone 5. So the key thing is if we can get the lads that can play.
Yeah.
And I did actually meet 2 of them subsequently when they were playing football on their own without any goalposts whatsoever. And myself and my wife, when we had the seesaw installed, and my wife was particularly taken on how polite these 17-18-year-olds, I don't know how old they are, were and they fully justified what we've done for them. And let's encourage the other teenagers, because I said it would be a good idea to bring their friends as well.
Ooh.
Because at the moment, the play equipment out there is really designed for youngsters.
Yes.
Are you putting something in the Brent Knoll News?
It's a bit late, isn't it? But we're going to
Well,
get...
I think you could put something.
Well, we can put in
Put a
as
photograph.
part of the process, so if anybody wants to bring a camera, I'll do my impression. No pictures, please, no pictures, no pictures. But we are going to have Western Rugby all
Well,
being
I'm hoping so. I've asked and invited them. So,
He'll be late.
Ooh.
Burnham.co.
yeah, again, I've invited them.
I think we should put an official notification in the Brent Knoll News that we have done this now.
Yes.
We spent about £10,000
Yeah.
for the benefit of the village. I think that should go in.
Yeah.
And we can then say a formal thank you to Aston.
Whatever, yeah.
Yes, that would be nice.
And say and thank the hard work of the subcommittee.
Yes,
The work subcommittee is very important.
particularly the major. Major help, mate.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Anyway, there we are. So that's good, and it's what going to come next is the question, I guess, isn't it, John?
I would just like to talk about the back of the mugger. They got the spoil out from where they dug in the surface in front, put it behind the mugger, which is absolutely fine and has a little rise there. I did notice that when they had done it, there was an awful lot of old roots, stones, and bricks there, and it needed to be graded and it needed to be seeded. I noticed that they had just thrown seed on it. I think we need, probably within ourselves, to get a working party out there with some bricks, rake it out, and get the thing properly done.
Ooh.
And I'm quite prepared to go with whoever I want to.
Join you or
Yeah.
When do you want to do it?
Well, I don't really mind, but it needs to be done. We want to get on with it and
2:30 Saturday afternoon.
do that.
You can stand behind it with your rates and
That's
that'll
not such a bad idea. We could do it afterwards.
I won't be able, I won't be able.
I'll be there. I'll be
Well, Richard will be there.
I'll sort of make it.
You.
I'll take
David will come. No, but I think, seriously, after the kick-off,
Yeah, fine.
right, okay.
Rates progress.
Right, very good.
Moving on, bus provision in Brent Knoll and recent meetings. Well, Colin and myself attended a meeting in Burnham, catalysed by our beloved MP, who I have to say I was very impressed by. At the meeting was James as our MP, Colin and I were there representing Brent Knoll, there was the representatives from East Brent and there was representatives from Burnham. There was also representatives county. There was also representatives of district councillors in the form of Bob and another, whose name I can't remember, but anyway, that's by the by. And I was going to be very impolite in my choice of language, and two representatives of the bus company. First bus, yeah, but oh dear. I mean, to be honest with you, they are the most ignorant company when it comes to customer service, and every proposal, and James had come up with a very reasonable offer to solve the issue, or part solve the issue, which independently I had thought of as well, and they just looked at us and said, no, can't do that, it'll cost £100,000. So I said, well, what about that? No, can't do that, it'll be £100,000. What about that? Oh no, it's £100,000.
So they went with the idea of not doing it.
So I just looked at the pair of them and said, as far as I'm concerned, you're just interested in profit over service. And they just didn't know what to say. And James was very, very, I think he was quite upset that he couldn't resolve the issue. And you know, he was bending over backwards trying to get these idiots to try and do something. And the galling thing, because what there is a service at the moment which runs from Burnham to Weston through Green and comes down through Limsham. And in the summer period, to cope with all the influx of tourists, they run it every half hour. And in the winter it'll be run every hour. And we said, well, why couldn't you divert one every 2 hours, one every half day, down Station Road through Brent Knoll, Burton Road, and then through East Grant. Can't do that, £100,000. And then subsequent to that meeting, which really is galling, I have it on very good authority that somebody was stood at the bus stop in Burnham wanting to get to the doctors, and this particular bus turned up, and there was an identical bus, but one was a double decker and one was a single decker, both running on the same route, both partially full, and you think, where is the logic in that? So
there weren't any.
I then asked James whether he, on our behalf, and indeed East Brent's behalf, would go to the bus company in Weston, so Crossville in Weston,
Right.
to see whether they would be prepared. And he has said he would, but I'm not sure of his agenda timing. So I thought after this meeting I would write to him and say, I have reported to the Parish Council, who like me, thank you for your involvement and efforts, and would be grateful to hear any further news on your discussions
That would
with
be
him.
wonderful.
I was mindful of whether we as a parish should approach Crossville. It's all to do with cross borders, because I didn't realise there's this border, you see, for subsidising bus companies, which seems to start just this side of, or just gone past the, is it the Brew or the Axe? I can never remember. The one you go on the road to Westwood. It's the Axe. Just there is the boundary anyway. And that's part of North Somerset, so any bus service in there is subsidised by North Somerset, whereas in this part it's subsidised by the rest of Somerset. And you do realise that we are subsidising all these tourists. The people that really want to use it
Haven't got a bus,
haven't got a bus.
which is not good enough.
So Colin wrote to me and said, well, what about, and he mentioned one of the options that there are in terms of this sort of community type bus schemes that we have, and we've talked about Slinky and all the rest of it. But I did talk to Kim, not today, but the last parish surgery, and there are about 4 or 5 potential options that we could look at, but I think it'd be something we ought to set a working group up, and perhaps we'd get Kim involved, and then come back to Kim. But, I mean, things like we in the village would set up effectively a private taxi service, but then are there people that are going to be prepared to do it?
And then
It's those sort of issues, and I think it's potentially a non-starter, but what do people think? Should we go
But
ahead?
if you set up a group that requires an answer of what service we need, you ought to get a couple of people from the village that actually need to use the buses.
yes.
Always used to use the buses but are able to now.
We don't want troublemakers. I can think of one.
You'd have to be careful with insurance and all that sort of
Oh yeah. I mean, there is a. Kim told me that other villages have done this, and there's a whole, if you like, toolkit that they can come and talk to us about, and it includes setting up all the necessary insurances and all the rest of it. It is because at the moment, you see, there's volunteer drivers for hospital services, taking people to, and there's the Red Cross.
Yeah, I used to drive for the Red Cross.
But you know, it's something that we ought to think about for the village, because I can't see buses coming.
Be worth writing to Crossville, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was only going to say, I think I would support your original proposal of Crossville to start with.
Yeah.
If that fails, then we can look at the alternatives. But in a way, the attitude, as you say, of First Bus that day was less than helpful. And they almost seem to be saying, well, we're the only game in town. Because Webbers aren't here,
And that
we
annoys me.
will do what we want. If Crossville even made noises about possibly running a route, First Bus might suddenly be a lot more amenable than they were at that meeting. But I think having some alternative to them would be
Wonderful.
yeah,
And young Mr. Crossville was on the television the other day, I don't know whether we saw it, with his steam engine. And he's going to refurb a complete, I can't remember what class it was, but anyway, and that will be several million, so he's not short of a bob or two, is he?
And I think theirs is a more family-based business as well, which might be more responsive than First anyway. So
Yes.
I'm just wondering whether we could do a joint thing with East Brent.
I think that's absolutely correct.
Can we talk about that outside the meeting, Bob, please?
yeah,
Because you and I could perhaps.
have to.
Very good idea.
Yeah.
Very, very good idea.
Right, going on, SID data and location matters. Now, as you know, I wrote an article in the UKA that was followed up by a further article, almost saying it doesn't matter what we do in terms of.
Sorry.
There's a handle come off.
Digital. Sorry.
Don't lock us in. And there was concerns over, it doesn't matter how many SIDs, it's only a matter of time before there is going to be an accident or worse in the village. So, and I may have been going over old ground, I apologise. I have spoken to our local police, PC Wills, and had a half-an-hour phone call with him. He is of the same opinion as me. We do have a speeding problem in the village, and it is only a matter of time, in their view, when and if there will be a serious accident. He has instigated that we will now go on to the periodic speed checks in somewhere. I won't say where, we don't know when, but I'll have on good authority from the PCSO this afternoon that they will give us some feedback on any outcomes of such speed checks, which is good. In the interim, I had some further SID data from Mr. Ibrahim, who's not my best friend now, unfortunately, because he sent me this data and said, I asked him where was the camera located at the time, and he sent me all this location data, which doesn't tie up with the data. So, but I did say to the police this afternoon, on one analysis, we had over 50% of the vehicles were exceeding 33 miles an hour, and one was peaked at 65 miles an hour. That's on one day, which was the 21st of June. Sorry, I tell a lie, it was 65 miles an hour. And I know we've had mention of traffic numbers down Station Road as a result of whether or not affordable housing. On a daily basis, the number of vehicles that are flagged by the SID unit is approaching 1,300. So put that into context, please, when considering impacts of other traffic. So we're talking about 1,300 vehicle movements in one direction only, because it's only picking up the one direction. I want to talk to Roger.
He has about 200 to 300 miles down in the hour.
Yeah. But he's not there all, because this is running from 000 till midnight the following day, if the battery's working. But it would be nice to coordinate any data that Roger has to help issue. And I have to say that the latest article that appeared in BK, and Bob has already been on the end of my displeasure, was not a very helpful response to say, well, 20 years ago, we tried all this and nothing worked. And I think, well, 20 years has moved on, traffic numbers have moved up. I was talking to Sam this afternoon, and I said one of the issues, when you look at the data, it's clearly between 8:30 and 9:15, 12 and 1, and about 3 to 4 o'clock on Brent Street. And that, what does that tie in with? School run. And she said school run, I said exactly. And those are some quite frightening speeds. We're talking 40 odd miles an hour.
I think cars with baby on board and the signs in the
It's terrible.
And then everybody says about the cars down Brent Street being all parked, that slows the traffic up. And I said, sorry, it doesn't.
It's rubbish, that is.
And you've got,
Complete
what,
rubbish.
5 to 11-year-olds, well, less particularly the 5-year-old end, who could run between cars into traffic. And I'm just wondering if later on, when I'm off my happy horse, we'll talk to the headmaster and see if we can't get some sense into the parents as well. Bob's smirking, but I don't know whether that'll be any good.
Wasting your time.
That's fine, everyone's so rude.
I think with park cars, it does slow down some of us.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say it doesn't slow things down, but it does. Those who are responsible anyway.
True to say that Bob and I have been talking about traffic calming for the last 25 years.
Traffic calming, like, who wants to answer the trouble, but, you know, it's how we do solve it, John.
Humps and
Yes,
chicanes.
whichever it is.
Well.
Anyway, we will, that will be pursued. Bob, yes.
Only smile simply because it is worth talking to the headmaster, and because we've done that
Yeah.
to this headmaster and previous ones. They are very helpful, they do take it up with their parents, and often you get a slight improvement for a relatively short period of time, and then it's back to normal, both on terms of speeding and on parking and there's other
It's
issues.
considerate parking is what we want.
Exactly.
Malcolm?
Slightly different tack. I was parked opposite the post office the other day. A lorry went past and the road actually moved. I wondered if there's any possibility we could get a weight restriction through the village.
Because that's all to do with the,
Well, it's to do with the...
probably,
Yes, but the road moving is
Yes.
regardless, you know.
exactly.
If it's moving to that extent,
Shouldn't have big
highway
roads,
should be
but there's not like.
informed, I think. I don't know how we could prove it one way or the other, to be honest.
Weight restriction, I've got it on my note, but I'll mention the council.
Well, there is fairly heavy traffic, and there's a lot of the very big cement machines coming down.
Yeah, no.
And there will be, whilst they're putting the tunnel through.
But I have seen quite sizable lorries going through the, well, obviously it must have been coming through Station Road and then through Burton Road.
We've probably
They
got
come-
quarry lorries going through there.
They come through and go to East Brent, the steel
Yeah.
manufacturers there.
No,
But we've also got a lot of large sewers under that road, and if the soil around them has shifted, then the road will move.
But then they should be embedded on gravel, but
Well, they're Victorian, so they do that then.
who knows. Bob, did you have something else, sorry? Or was it Cynthia, did you have a hand up, or was it?
Sorry.
Did you have a hand up to say something just previously, sorry?
I was just holding the head where it's...
Oh, yeah,
What was he
yeah,
saying?
right, okay.
How much longer?
Oh, how much longer? Oh,
We're getting there, Peter.
yeah.
Jubilee Stone,
Jubilee Stone, John has,
I sent an email out to everybody to say that the engraving of the Jubilee in 2002 and 2012 has been completed on the Jubilee Stone. I spoke to Cheddar stonemasons the other day, and I think the installation of the two commemoration stones for the Queen's 90th birthday probably will be done within the next fortnight.
Good.
That's very good, brilliant.
I can't see that.
Once we've done it, I've just got to write to the National Trust and just tell them when we've done it, that's all.
Well, the engraving of the stone for the 2 dates, that was done nearly a fortnight ago.
but they haven't been put up on the top yet.
The two new stones have not yet been produced, and they are both to be installed. One is the small stone which goes at the foot of the Jubilee Stone, and the other is to go at the foot
Flagpole.
of the flag.
Excellent.
It's all going to happen.
Good. We've
And
done.
I'm going to be told, so as soon as I'm told, I'll signal everybody so we can have a...
Bob,
Can we just make sure when they do the flagpole one that they do put it on the Methodist side of the flagpole rather than the other side, because otherwise access coming into the car park.
That is not
Be an
the
issue.
plan. It's to look up the village.
Well, if it's between the flagpole and the entrance to the car park, that will restrict access, particularly for the larger vehicles that come on.
Try and go to the grass.
Well, that when it was discussed by everybody who looked at that was
Supposed to be
planned.
at the foot of the flagpole.
at the foot of the platform. Right.
There's still about 4 foot, 5 foot more money.
And then it's designed to have done the village and put it the other way. It will.
Well, I mean, we'll get it to as near the flagpole as we can.
Right.
Well, we'll be right up against it.
Resolution to approve, we've done that. Wessex Water, I mean, we've all
We've
we've
had the
had
updates
the
from
funding updates.
Wessex Water.
We've had the funding summary. So, can we just talk about whether we need to continue with GCP Sports as preferred contractor?
This came about because obviously it was raised at the previous meeting. I think it's Colin raised it actually, who said that he wasn't totally impressed about GB Sports' commitment, you know, and some of the work that they've done inspections and they've list things, and whether we're getting good value for money. I investigated a couple of other options that the council might consider. One of them was a company called Red Monkey, who are specialist play equipment supervisors, and what they actually offer is a much more comprehensive package. They say, right, okay, we will take charge of the compliance on your village green. We will visit twice a year, but when our inspector comes out, he will make any immediate amendments that he can make there and then. So if there's any bolts loose, anything that can be done at that point in time, he's got a toolkit, he's got a fair bit of hardware with him, he can actually deal with it when he comes. That's a twice yearly thing, twice yearly service, and they give a complete report twice a year of everything, down to the last bit of detail, and that costs £399 a year.
As opposed to GP.
GP charges currently £18 a year, which is about 250 quid a year roughly, and then we have to add the annual inspection on top of that.
So would we have an annual inspection?
But those two
would cover our annual and our monthly effectively.
The two detailed inspections will effectively be like having 2 annual inspections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with full details and work being done that's needed.
Yeah.
The problem is, what do you do in the interim period? That's the difficulty. You know, between the 6 months.
That's quite a long time.
It's
6
quite a
months,
long
isn't it?
gap. I mean, what they were suggesting is we would normally do one in the spring and in the autumn. So you do one before the season starts and one when it's ended. That's normally their process. But there are other things we can do as well. There are other options.
I mean, if there are any problems, the monthly inspection by ourselves would throw that at them.
Well, you would think so, but I think my colleague's concern was the fact they didn't actually suss out the problems with the seesaw.
My
took
concern as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Peter was
And Peter was.
Where are Redmond based?
Sorry?
Where are they based?
Red Monkey are a London-based company, but they've got inspectors all over the country.
Oh,
But, you know, it's something to consider. I'm not saying we need to
Yeah.
decide now.
go
Chairman will tell me if I can proceed.
Yeah, I was waiting. Baker growth.
Like you say, what is the law? I mean, if something happened within that 6 months, I'm sure that we'd be
Liable.
liable.
We are insured, obviously,
Yeah.
and we are required legally to have an annual inspection
An annual inspection is
Yeah.
the minimum.
as a minimum.
But we also are obliged to
Demonstrate due care and
Diligence sort of.
Diligence.
Now that was what we used to do before, and we decided that we weren't competent people.
Yeah.
We decided that GB Sports would come
Yeah.
once a month, which we felt was a reasonable time period, and I think we should maintain that really for our peace of mind.
Even
Or
though
they- or look
even
at
though they missed
alternatives.
it.
Or look at alternatives.
Yeah, but looking at
So
the
what
alternative,
monkey-
it only
I
comes in every 6
If
months.
you would like to, I'll go back and look at all the alternatives that are available.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And come back with a proposal.
Yeah,
That you can have a look at.
yeah.
Perhaps the mini audit group can have a look at it. Perhaps
Richard was very impressed with who you saw.
But he was the one who's unfortunately not very well and he may not be here. He was the one,
Having said GB Sports weren't good, with Richard saying how good he was.
but he wasn't GB, he wasn't.
Because he was independent.
He was
so
contracted by
independent,
GB
Well,
Sports.
maybe he.
No, he's not very well, so he's out.
Well,
That's why we didn't get a
But I
report.
think we should still stick with somebody that can do it once a month, otherwise.
It
Well,
sounds
it's a long
right,
time.
doesn't it?
Especially if it comes in October, it don't come back till March.
But it's
I
no
mean,
good
the
if he's
weather
not doing
and
his job
everything is
properly.
deteriorating.
Yes, true.
Whatever we decide, as long as we let our insurance company know, because every year when insurance companies write to me, they ask me about things like
Yeah.
play inspection, and at the moment I just tick the box and say every month.
It's the biggest risk we have. But I'll be content if you're happy to,
Yeah, I'll have a look.
then we can look.
I'll look at that, see what's
Right.
after.
Sorry for the delay. Matters of report, John.
No, thank you.
Peter?
No, please, is our thinking.
No,
Yeah, no.
nothing.
Oh, Bob, that's
It's
a
not
matter
right
of...
though, because it's back to GB and a quote for the swings we were going to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Oh, sorry, we were, sorry.
Absolutely.
Well done, Bob.
Yeah, we've got a quote for the swings. To remove to tip existing swing chains and seats, to supply fit cradle seats with new chains and shackles, and junior flat seats with new chains and shackles above sum £616 plus VAT. That's what they're quoting. That was a terribly difficult quote to get out of them. Took me about
What companies are there anywhere else we can go from?
Oh, we can do. We can
Oh,
get
right,
quote
we
wherever we
should.
like.
Can we get an alternative, please?
Yeah,
If we can buy the seat, because Mac did the last lot, but the seats are.
I think I'm quite happy to have other quotes, but I know there was some comments about it was felt that it was very expensive. If you look at what we spent on the seesaw,
You're
that was
right.
just under 3,000.
Yeah.
We had a quote for replacing the swings, which was £6,000 all told, and if you did away with the safer surface, it was £3,000. So to get 4 new seats, plus all the chains, all the shackles, everything else, which would give us at least another 10 years worth of work out of it, 600 quid actually is not out of
It's not
all.
very
I did look on
much, is
the
it?
website on some of the other game people like Sutcliffe, and if you're buying a cradle swing, just the seat, you're looking at about 80 quid to 100 quid per cradle seat.
Yeah.
People like Sutcliffe will be a lot more, I'm sure.
So I mean, it's
Is that including VAT? That's-
No, 740 including VAT.
So
What would you like to do?
shall we just bite the bullet and
Yes.
do it?
Yes.
Can we have a proposal, please, for that? Thank you. Yeah, I think unanimously we'll spend that money. Assuming that they are not tardy in doing it.
Well,
Well, you have to keep an eye on them.
Council, anything to report? Brian?
Nothing.
Yes.
Right. So, apart from Brian, are we all getting together? And you're not driving up from Cornwall.
Saturday.
Can we?
No, it's East Brent, sorry, it's Lewisham Harvest Day, I should be there.
I should be there.
I won't be there.
Apologies.
I will come, yes.
I can do trouble somehow.
So, apart from Brian, are we all going to be assembled on the green? Sorry?
Peter who can't make it.
No, Peter, I beg your pardon.
I won't be able to make it. I should be there in my cobbler's strip.
You're Cobblers.
Northampton Down.
Yeah.
Cobblers. Yeah.
That's one of their shoes.
Used to.
It's very astute of you.
Yes, or maybe it's a little bread roll.
Yeah.
You're not company me up You know why they make shoes there?
Why is it? Because there's lots of oak trees that provide tannin for the road.
No, also, very, used to be,
We'll go for food.
very